Hey, Robert, can you hear me?
A day to remember for the rest of your lives.
There's a great promise for all of you.
The Pro Football Hall of Fame and Extreme Networks present the Heart of a Hall of Famer program. With nearly 100 Hall of Famers participating, we have reached 48 states around this country, sharing the message that football is more than a game and can teach Americans how to huddle up during a time when we need to be united.
It's time for America to take a real deep dive. Not at no one else, but at yourself individually. If you want to change America, don't brush your teeth with your head down. Look at who you are and be the example. Be the example.
An opportunity to meet and learn from one of the greatest football players of all time. But more than that, the chance to see that their Hall of Fame life wasn't given to them. Single-parent homes, drug-infested neighborhoods, and poverty.
I grew up in a neighborhood that was considered one of the worst in America, and the household I grew up in was one of the worst in that neighborhood. By the time I was 20 years old, I knew at least 30 friends or family members who had lost their lives. Football became like a second parent to me. It taught me the things that my father wasn't there to teach me, and that my mother, as a struggling, single-parent woman, just didn't know to teach me.
But they learn how to live a life of character before pursuing their football careers. Today, you will learn you can do the same that they once did. Making good decisions can lead to a prosperous life both on and off the field. Your game for life has already begun. It's your decision whether or not you want to be a successful student, son, daughter, brother, or sister.
Every one of you can have a Hall of Fame life, whether or not you play football. You can be as great as you want to be. The Hall of Fame is all about integrity, character, and excellence. You have the opportunity to represent yourself that way. You determine your character.
Welcome to a once-in-a-lifetime program, the Heart of a Hall of Famer.
He could run block and he could pass block with the best of them. And he helped the Bills win AFL championships in 1964 and 1965. Ladies and gentlemen, Billy Shaw.
I thought that what I would do this afternoon
as an induction speech is to carry you through some of the people that have been so instrumental in my career. Vicksburg, Mississippi gave me my start. They taught me values. I appreciate all those coaches in that town that gave me a start in whatever sport it might be. And I thank them for their support. Friends. What would a man be without friends? How does that affect a man's career? Well, if you're not a happy person and content, then you are not going to be the kind of football player that deserves to be in a Hall of Fame. And then comes our faith. No football player is ever complete without his faith. I thank the Lord Jesus Christ as my Savior and for giving me the strength and ability and the wisdom to play this game. Thank you.
All right, with that, I'd like to welcome everybody to our latest edition of the Pro Football Hall of Fame's Heart of a Hall of Famer series powered by Extreme Networks. My name is Jake Ray. I'm the Youth and Education Manager here at the Pro Football Hall of Fame. We're coming to you live from Canton, Ohio with Gold Jacket Billy Shaw. Our mission here at the Pro Football Hall of Fame is to honor the heroes of the game, to preserve its history, to promote its values, and to celebrate excellence everywhere. So those values we talk about are those of commitment, integrity, courage, respect, and excellence, all of which we'll touch on today. I'm excited today, and hopefully everybody tuning in, both from their classroom as well as on Facebook Live, are excited to hear what Mr. Shaw has to say about the game of football and how it impacted his life, both on and off the field. But before we get started, I do have a few thank yous I'd like to say. First off, you heard him there at the beginning. I'd like to thank our partners at Extreme Networks. They do a lot for us here at the Pro Football Hall of Fame. They do a lot of great things for schools all across the country. So first and foremost, we'd like to thank them for their support. Secondly, I'd like to thank our teachers and administrators for allowing us to come into your classroom today. You know, we have a great message here. Football teaches so many great things, and we're happy to share that with your students today. And lastly, maybe most importantly, I'd like to thank our students. You know, without you guys today, the program doesn't happen. So we're excited to hear what questions you might have today for Mr. Shaw, and we're excited to see where the program goes. So without further ado, please welcome one of the greatest men to ever step on the football field, step on a gridiron, Mr. Billy Shaw. So to start everything off, Mr. Shaw, do you have anything you'd like to open with today?
No, just that education is so important, and I have such a great respect for you teachers out there. I got the opportunity back in the 90s to serve our community as chair of the Board of Education. And I got the opportunity to learn in depth what a challenge it is that you have. Education has been a part of my family for many years. My grandparents were college professors. My mother was a first grade teacher. Her sister was a first grade teacher. We have, my wife Patsy and I have 3 daughters. 2 just retired from teaching over the last couple of years. One is a first grade teacher and one is a 4th grade teacher. And then the 3rd daughter was an administrative assistant at the high school in charge of the athletic department. So I have an in-depth reality of what you go through, and I appreciate you. Students, you're lucky to have someone that is committed to make sure that you get the best of educations, but they are concerned about you as people. So as we continue today, hopefully some of those issues that we have and the answers will come out. Thank you for having me.
All right, so I think we'll start off with, we mentioned those values: commitment, integrity, courage, respect, and excellence. Out of those 5, is there one that you think, you know, stands out above the others, or for you personally is more important or has a more hold on your life?
Well, I'm a person that is concerned about character. And those 5 values are part of character that certainly we all should incorporate within our character. Integrity today is a major part of my character, in that I try to improve on that characteristic as the days goes on, because respect and integrity are just so important to our characters as we go forward, either in an athletic career, being a husband, being a father, being a grandfather, and now being a great grandfather. It's important that we are able to give to our children and those that we are teaching the importance of character and how it defines us as we go forward. But integrity is one of the keys.
All right, we're going to throw it out to our students now. Now, students, we're going to be rotating here, so make sure you have some questions ready. I believe we got some students down there in Tennessee we're going to start with, so we're going to throw it to them. So go ahead and ask your question here for Mr. Shaw.
You have a question, guys? Go for it. What position was you in?
What position did you play?
I played, let's go back to high school. In high school, I played tackle. And in college, I played tackle. And pro ball, I was an offensive guard. So I moved a little bit closer to the center. Where in Tennessee are you from?
Knoxville.
Knoxville. My grandson is the offensive line coach at Tennessee Tech.
Very good.
Yeah.
All right, we're going to throw it now to our next classroom. We got some students there with Mrs. Kakuzi's class, so we're going to throw it there over to them for your question here for Mr. Shaw.
Hi, thank you for having us.
Back there.
Can you hear us? Yeah, there you go.
Yep.
Hi, my name is Justin Maldonado, and I go to the Spencerport, New York, both these two. And my question is, what are some situations or events that took place in your life that you would say had a significant impact on your character?
All right, so they're an event or a moment in your life, playing career, on or off the field, that had an impact on your character.
Well, I, as a young man, your age, I was concerned about the kind of person that I was perceived to be. If I was real, I wanted to make sure that those characteristics of my character were there for friends, for teammates, for classmates to pull on or to maybe use in their life. So I was concerned about the kind of person that I wanted to be and I was perceived to be. Were they the same person? I wanted to make sure that the character that I was presenting was real and honest. And I think that we all should be concerned about people that are trying to draw off of you and learn from you. Make sure that those characteristics that you are putting out there to be judged by are real and honest.
All right, I think we have some more students here with us today. We're going to go to Mr. Hall's classroom, I believe, up there in Wisconsin for our next question. So go ahead, step up to the microphone and ask your question.
What's the thing you miss most about playing football?
What do you miss most about the game?
Well, in my case, having played in the 60s, it's not the money because we didn't make a lot of money. I miss the relationships that, that I made and had with teammates and that I haven't seen in a long time. I miss the opportunity to share every day with, the opportunities that we had in life. And I think that those are the things that, that I miss the most. I couldn't play the game today, like I played the game back in the 60s. It's changed, so much. But it's kind of the little things that, that I miss. But mostly it was the day-to-day learning, from teammates and their adventures in life. And I think those things are important.
Now, kind of off of that, you talk a little bit about what you missed from the game. How did you, or is there anything you did to prepare yourself for the transition from a player in the AFL to time out of the game, or was it tough to do that transition for you?
The transition was not hard. I was very lucky in that I got the opportunity to go to academically a great school in Georgia Tech. And the education that I received there prepared me for opportunities after football. And I felt like that my wife and I had made an agreement. We made a pact that we would never let football hurt family. And in Buffalo, early on, we have 3 daughters. 2 of the daughters were in school, 1st grade and 3rd grade, and or somewhere around that time. And we made our homes in Louisiana. And it was hard on the children to go half a year in New York and a half a year in Louisiana. So it was putting a burden on family. So actually, the wife and I retired from football because of that promise that we had made to each other not to let football hinder family. So family came first, and that's the reason that that we retired, from the game of football. But being prepared for what came later, I just relied on education, the things in business that I had learned, and was very fortunate to have a Hall of Fame business life.
Good. Well, that's always good. That always the big thing you hear is, what's your plan B? If you're a great college athlete, professional athlete, what do you have to fall back on? So it's great to hear, coming out of Georgia Tech, that you had that career and you had that passion to fall back on. So when you came out of Georgia Tech into professional football, you were drafted in both the AFL and the NFL, which for those of you that don't know, way long ago, not saying that not too long ago, there were 2 leagues. There was the AFL and the NFL, both rival professional football leagues, and players like Mr. Shaw here were able to be drafted in both. And so you had a decision to make, AFL or NFL. Why ultimately did you choose the Buffalo Bills and the AFL?
Well, as was said, there were 2 leagues. The AFL in 1961 was only 1 year old. And the NFL, of course, was the established league. But there was 2 drafts, AFL, NFL. I was drafted by the Buffalo Bills of the AFL. I was drafted by the Dallas Cowboys of the NFL. The Dallas Cowboys wanted to play me at linebacker. I had never played linebacker in my life. The Buffalo Bills wanted to play me on the offense or defense side of the ball as a lineman. The Bills pretty well settled on offense, on the offensive guard position, and that fit exactly what I wanted to play and what I was best suited for. Had nothing to do with dollars or cents. I chose to go to Buffalo because of the position that they wanted me to play.
So we're here in Canton, Ohio. Like we say, your second home here in Canton, where your iconic career lives. When you get enshrined to the Hall of Fame, you get 3 iconic pieces. You get that bronze bust that you always see our Hall of Famers holding, our gold jackets holding. You get the Hager gold jacket that Mr. Shaw has on here, as well as that Kay Jewelers Ring of Excellence that he's wearing. But like I said, that most iconic piece is that bronze bust. So we're going to, right now, I've got the Youth and Education Coordinator, Nathan Martin, who's live in our bust gallery. He's going to talk a little bit about what it means to be a Hall of Famer and a little bit why Mr. Shaw here has that bronze bust on display. So Nathan, are you there?
Yeah, Jake, can you hear me?
We can.
Awesome. And I just wanted to welcome everybody here to Canton, to the Pro Football Hall of Fame. And I'm here in our Hall of Fame gallery. And as you can see, we're surrounded by a bronze bust. Mr. Billy Shaw's being right here over my left shoulder. And if we're going to put that into perspective, there have been over 300 million people that have ever played the game of football at any level. And of those 300 million people that have played the game of football, right, whether it's Pee Wee, high school, Pop Warner, only 5 million of them played the game in college, right? But if we take it to a whole nother level, of those 5 million, only 29,000 have played, coached, or administered the game at the professional level and been paid to do it, Mr. Billy Shaw being one of them. But of those 29,000, only 326 men have been enshrined here at the Pro Football Hall of Fame and have one of these bronze busts like Mr. Billy Shaw. In 1961, Billy Shaw, a 6'2", 258 All-American lineman out of Georgia Tech, was drafted by both the Buffalo Bills of the American Football League and the Dallas Cowboys of the then rival National Football League. Shaw, who played both offense and defense at Georgia Tech, felt his size and speed was better suited to play guard, where the Bills, who drafted him in the second round, planned to use him. The fact that he went on to become one of the best and most honored guards in the 1960s proves that he chose well. The Bills of 1962, 1963, and 1964 still rank among the best in the team record book for most rushing touchdowns scored in a season. A key member of the Bills teams that won the AFL titles in 1964 and 1965, Shaw was named a first-team All-AFL selection 5 times and also a second-team All-AFL selection choice in 1962, in 1968, and 1969. He was selected to play in 8 AFL All-Star games and was named to the AFL All-AFL team. Named to Pro Football's All-Decade team in the 60s, Shaw is the first Hall of Fame member to play his entire career in the AFL. As you can tell, Billy Shaw had a career well-deserving of a bust here in Canton. Jake, back to you.
All right, thanks, Nathan. So after all those stats, everything, to get the gold jacket, to get that ring, to get that bronze bust, since you've been a Hall of Famer, which you were enshrined in 1999, what has been the coolest thing or the most proudest moment for you after putting on that gold jacket?
Well, there's probably 2. One is the enjoyment that my family has. Having the opportunity to experience Canton and the Hall of Fame has meant a great deal to the family. Second, and probably as important as the first, is that there are a lot of my heroes that are in this Hall of Fame. People that that I watched play, that I've gotten the opportunity to meet and to share with. People that I actually copied some of their play, incorporated that into my play. Jerry Kramer, that was inducted a couple of years ago, was the guard, offensive guard, that I thought I played like. So I copied some of his techniques into my play, and to get to meet him and to share that with him was a great experience. So getting the opportunity to meet and to talk and to share with fellow Hall of Famers is I guess the thing that I enjoy the most of the opportunity to be honored, into this Hall of Fame.
All right, we're going to throw it back to our students. We're going to go back down to Knoxville here to Dr. Tana's class. So for our next question. So whenever you're ready, go ahead and ask your question here for Mr. Shaw.
Okay, go ahead. Look at there. What did you study in college?
What did you study in college?
I started to be a civil engineer, but math changed my direction, and I got my degree in industrial management. And in the business life that I had for 30 years after football, that was the right choice.
Did you now, was there ever a moment you thought professional football wasn't going to be, or was professional football always the goal for you, or having that strong business background, getting that degree obviously is an important thing, but was football always the goal, or did you kind of see yourself going in a different direction?
Well, I was rather small for professional football early on in my college career, but toward my junior and senior year, I began to mature and was getting bigger and got noticed, by professional football. It was not my desire growing up to be a professional player. Football. I always wanted to play baseball. And as a senior in high school, before the major league draft started, the Cubs, Chicago, offered me a contract to play baseball. And I guess the changing point in my life is that when I came home to tell my dad about the opportunity to play professional baseball at a minor league start, he put that an end to that in a hurry. He says, "Son, you're going to college. You're going to play college football if you want to, but you're going to college." And so that changed everything.
I bet. All right,
Yeah.
We're going to go to our next question here with our students there with Mrs. Kakuzi's class. So go ahead and step up to the microphone and ask your question whenever you're ready.
Hi, Mr. Shaw. I just want to know, what was your favorite team back in high school or college?
Favorite team? Do you have a favorite team growing up?
Favorite team in high school was my high school. It was Carr Central High School that no longer exists in Vicksburg, Mississippi. My favorite college team while I was in high school was Ole Miss. My dad played freshman ball at Ole Miss, so I had a connection to Ole Miss, and my life changed, when I started to get high school or college offers. My best friend in high school went to Ole Miss, and I decided, and Ole Miss offered me, but I thought that maybe I was getting looked at because I was friends of the best player in the state of Mississippi our senior year, and so I chose to go elsewhere. But Ole Miss was my team when I was growing up.
Did you have a professional team, or has it always been the Bills?
Well, the Bills didn't exist when I was growing up. They came into existence in 1960. I was a Cleveland Browns fan back in, growing up. That was my team.
Sure, it's a popular choice for this area that we're sitting in today.
I'm not saying it because of that. That's just the way it was.
So you look throughout your career. Obviously, like we said, you're a Hall of Famer, so you've had a ton of success on the field. But growing up in high school, you mentioned you played baseball. Did you see how baseball and football kind of helped each other out? How one sport kind of helped you become better at the other sport, and why did you choose to continue playing two sports throughout your time in high school?
Well, actually, all of the sports in high school help you play the other sport. I played football, basketball, baseball, and did track in high school. And there's not a sport that didn't help you prepare for the other sport. Basketball, the agility. Football, being tough, or having the opportunity to show your strength. And in baseball, I think was probably the hardest sport to play. But the other sports, with the agility and the quickness that they taught, helped you with bat speed and foot speed and hand-eye coordination and, receiving the ball or catching a grounder and that kind of thing. I think that the kids that excelled in a given sport were multi-sports playing athletes, and the other sports helped them become the best in whatever sport they play.
All right, we're going to go back to our students. We're going to go back down there to Knoxville for another question. So go ahead and step up to the microphone and ask your question here from Mr. Shaw.
Would you like to come and visit our school?
Well, I'll be more than happy to do that. You're in Knoxville. My grandson's in Cookeville. We could make that work. Absolutely.
Going throughout your career, you played your entire career there with the Buffalo Bills of the AFL. And you talk about a lot of things. You mentioned at the beginning what you miss the most about the game is, that brotherhood, that bond you have with your teammates. Were there any teammates you kind of made a special connection with your time there in Buffalo that you've either stayed close with today or have met, have seen along the road with your time throughout after you retired?
The Buffalo Bills are very special in that every year we have a reunion. And sometimes there will be 50 guys. But every year there is a large connection that happens because we all come back and and visit. The early Bills, the 64-65 AFL championship years, that team was very, very close. And I get to see all of my teammates and look forward to going back every year for that. I have kept in touch with a lot of the guys, and as a team, even today, we're still very close.
What do you think goes into creating that closeness? Being good teammates. What do you think helps create that bond that you have with a team like you had?
Well, you make a lot of sacrifices during the time that you play. Being away from family, spending your time during the football season, you spend the majority of your time with your teammates. So, you get to know some of their struggles in life. And if you're asked to get involved, then that makes it very special. So I would say that, the opportunity to reconnect, you've never been disconnected, but to reconnect and to watch people become successful, like our quarterback back in the 60s was a guy named Jack Kemp. And Jack was a very special, one of the most affluent people that I've ever been around. We all knew that he was going to do something very special. And, he ran for vice president of the United States. He was congressman from the state of New York. And it was gratifying to know that you were there with him and you watched his maturity to that level. And those are the things that you kind of enjoy from the sport.
Now, throughout your career, like we said, we stuck with the Buffalo Bills. I was reading some stories, said that your nickname was Steady Eddie. How did that come about?
Well, that nickname was not prominent all the time. It came from a kid that was a receiver and was a backup quarterback. His name was Eddie Rakowski from Notre Dame. And Eddie appreciated the fact that I was there for every play, practiced hard, and the nickname Steady Eddie was his way of showing respect. It had really nothing to do with the name Eddie, because it just kind of rhymed and he put it together. But that's how that came about.
Cool. It goes to show, how close you guys were, how close that bond was with your teammates. So
nobody else called me Steady Eddie.
We're going to go back to our students now. We're going to go back down there to Knoxville for another question. So go ahead and ask your question here for Mr. Shaw.
Go for it.
How many trophies do you have?
How many trophies? Did you take how many hardware?
How many trophies?
Got some there on your hand, it looks like.
Well, I have some trophies at home. I'll tell you about the one that means probably the most to me. If you follow college football, you associate Georgia Tech with the conference ACC, Atlantic Coast. When I played at Georgia Tech, we were in the SEC. And people don't know that. And in 1960, which was my senior year in college, I got a trophy, and it's the biggest trophy that I have, and it was the most valuable lineman in the SEC. And that means a great, great deal to me to this day. But, so I'm going to be honest with you, young man. There are times that I'll go to the man cave at my house and view those trophies. And I'm not ashamed to tell you that. So they're meaningful.
All right, we're going to go over to our other classroom here, Ms. Kakuzi's class, for their next question from their students there. So go ahead and ask your question when you're ready.
What's up, Mr. S? Did you ever get to meet Vince Lombardi?
I did not. The Bills, when the two leagues merged or were about to merge, the AFL and the NFL played exhibition season, and the Bills played his team. I did not, I never got to shake his hand or to meet him, but I have a ton of respect for not only what he did, in his coaching career, but what he did for football.
So you listed, talked about your trophy there. Doing some research here before the program, I found a list of stuff, about your career. So I'm going to read them off here. So you're inducted into the Pro Football Hall of Fame in 1999, the Greater Buffalo Sports Hall of Fame in 1994. You were on the All-AFL team, the Bills Wall of Fame, the Bills' 50th anniversary team. You were on the 1961 College All-Star team. You were an 8-time AFL All-Star, a 7-time All-AFLer, and a 2-time AFL champion. So had a pretty decent career. What do those awards and those accolades mean to you?
Well, there's two that you didn't mention.
Okay.
I'm also in the state of Mississippi Sports Hall of Fame and the state of Georgia Hall of Fame. And to be recognized by your state, having played my high school ball in Mississippi, born and raised in state of Mississippi, go to Georgia to play my college ball and to make my home and to raise my family, to be honored by those two states is very, very meaningful. There's a lot of luck that goes along in getting those kind of awards. One is your teammate. You can't do it alone. You've got to have teammates that are dedicated, that love the game, and because of their contribution, you get the reward. And so, every time I look at a trophy or think about being in whatever Hall of Fame it might be, including the Pro Football Hall of Fame, there are a lot of people that you have to stop and thank. And that's the way I view, the opportunity to be a part of an honor like that.
Now, throughout that illustrious career, it wasn't just, rainbows and butterflies the entire way. You had to go through a lot of adversity. So in 1967, you injured your knee prior to the season beginning, but by week 6, you were already back playing in the starting lineup. Was there extra motivation for you to get back to that team? Or was it just that drive, to get back out on the field and be the best you can be?
Well, in the 60s, there was no such thing as free agency. You couldn't move from team to team. And here I was, incapacitated with a cast on my leg. And there was other people playing my position. And I enjoyed playing and I wanted to play. And so that was incentive to do extra to get well. I'm no hero in the fact that I got back early. I had great trainers. Back years ago when your leg was or arms or whatever it was put in a cast, you got adhesions, and those were the hardest things to overcome. And in my case, I went home from when I got my cast off that first day, and got one of my daughters on my foot and did her, up and down, and I broke all those adhesions, and that put me 2 weeks ahead of the program. Yeah. And so no hero, just got lucky.
I know it kind of falls in line with setting goals. You have a goal to get back in there and help your teammates. Throughout your career, how did you work towards, setting new goals? And then do you still set goals in your life today?
Well, I think setting goals is very important. Go to high school. You have if you're playing sports, your goal is to be as good as you can be. On the education side of high school, your goal should be not to ever cheat yourself. You do everything that's necessary to take advantage of what's being taught and to excel, on the academic side. Setting goals in life, yes. I think that any person that is going to be or have some measure of success, if it's being the best husband that you can be, being the best father that you can be, being the best business person that you can be, setting goals is important. So it puts something out there for you to set aside temptations and obstacles to reach. And goals are very important. And yes, I still set goals to this day. Some goals I don't reach, but it's my fault that I don't reach them. And I would challenge everybody as part of building a character is to set goals.
I think we got time here real quick before we wrap up for one last question. And this is my favorite question that we get to ask through all the programs that we do. Is we have a lot of students tuning in today, not only in this program, but on our live feed as well. What is one piece of advice you want to leave everybody watching the program with today? One piece of advice that could set them forward on their path moving forward.
It's kind of a broad question. I'm gonna take it and break it down into the way I think. Young people, I think it's so important that we be concerned about the kind of person that we want to be and need to be. Society today needs you. We need you bad. And you take the opportunity to set goals in your life. You take the opportunity to mold and to build the character that fits you. The life is full of obstacles and temptations, and the strong succeed when they have a mature, thought out, exceptional character to get them through life. And I challenge you to start thinking in a very positive direction as to the kind of person that you want to be.
All right. I can't think of a better way to wrap it up, this installment of the Pro Football Hall of Fame's Heart of a Hall of Famer series, powered by Extreme Networks, with class of 1999 member Billy Shaw. Ms. Shaw, I want to thank you from our youth and education team here at the Hall of Fame all the way up to our president and CEO, Mr. David Baker. I like to say the game of football wouldn't be like it is today without our Gold Jackets and our Hall of Famers influence. So thank you for all that you've done for the game, all that you've done for us here at the Pro Football Hall of Fame in Canton, Ohio, and like we said, for the game of football as a whole. So let's give a round of applause to Mr. Billy Shaw here. And for everybody tuning out there today, we hope to see you one day here in Canton, Ohio at the Pro Football Hall of Fame. So thanks everybody for tuning in, and we will see everybody next time. See you guys.
Thank you.